prepared her well. The men in the cab of the truck would underestimate her. Her small size had earned her the nickname, but she knew that big things come in small packages. Mouse could hear the two outside, the harshness of their voices muffled by the heavy doors, then laughter, an unsettling sound. It did little to belie their true intention. Focus. Visualize on what you need to do. Commit to the action needed, then act. Her father's simple words replayed in her head, as they had 1,000 times before. She had proven the value of their meaning, and this would be yet another test. The padlock attached to the latch stirred. In the darkness, she edged closer to the door. The grunts of the others as she crawled over them seemed louder in the silence. There were men, women, and children of all ages huddled together in the truck's dark interior. They were unknowingly sold into servitude with the promise of reaching America, each of her cabin mates destined for different services. There were whispers among the imprisoned that the younger women and children would undoubtedly end up in the sex trade. The older men and women would be put to work in sweatshops or as day laborers. The desperation of their circumstance seemed to drain their will to fight back. Not Mouse. It fueled a fire inside her. She'd reached her destination, feeling the cool metal of the double doors. Mouse rolled silently onto her back. Her head rested against the back of one of the others. It would give her added leverage when the time came. Mouse's feet rose high, and the soles of her worn sneakers now rested lightly against the door. Commit to the action needed. The clank of the hinge told her that the time had come. The tension in the doors released, and they swung wide. The darkness of the sky seemed bright against the pitch of the box truck's interior. Act! Mouse shot her feet outward, striking at the two men. Her back arched on impact as they found their intended targets, one foot connecting with each man's throat. Big things can come in size 5 shoes. A gurgling cough erupted from the fat man. The thin man was quiet. As Mouse sat up, she understood why. His eyes were wild, but not like the day before. This was fear. A palpable terror on the man's bony face. His hands clasped tightly around his throat. A horrible wheezing sound expelled from his crushed windpipe as he staggered backward. The thin man fell and rolled into the shallow ditch that ran alongside the road. His body continued to writhe in agony, twisting to avoid the end that was fast approaching. The fat man was not down. He was recovering from the initial blow, but his hands no longer held near his throat, his body hunched and his hands on his knees. Mouse had planned for the possibility that the fight wouldn't be over with one action. Earlier, she had taken the tattered leather belt from the old man, and now it was wrapped tightly around her right hand. Even in death, he would protect her one last time. The oversized belt buckle was exposed across her knuckles. The image embossed in the steel depicted a cowboy on a bronco, apropos in the desert landscape of this standoff. Mouse slipped out and onto the roadway, her legs momentarily unsteady, adjusting as she stood for the first time after the long confinement. The fat man did not notice her. He was loud, spitting and cursing. She swung upward hard. Again she found her target, the trachea, this time with the added devastation of the buckle. The blow sent his head straight up. Bewildered, the fat man tried to account for this new injection of pain. His hands were back at his throat. Remember, Mouse, no matter how big your enemy, the throat is weak. Her dad's words, wise and true. The fat man dropped to his knees. The jagged scar above his eye seemed more menacing in his current state. Fearful that he would recover and overpower her, Mouse moved quickly, timing her next assault. The belt hung loosely in her hand as she shot behind the fat man. His hands lowered as he went to all fours, trying to find her like a dog chasing its tail. The leather strap wrapped around his throat. Mouse quickly slid the open end through the buckle and pulled it taut. A makeshift choke collar. Mouse was airborne. Her knees landed squarely in the fat man's back, toppling him face first into the asphalt. Mouse now stood with the heels of her small feet rooted in his shoulders. She leaned back hard like a water skier in the wake of a speedboat. The fat man flailed his arms, but the lack of oxygen weakened their movement. Mouse counted in her head. 6, 7, 8. She felt the fat man's chest sink. His arms no longer reached for her. 8 seconds without oxygen reaching the brain.